It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. These words from the ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus echo across centuries, speaking directly to the challenges we face today. Think about it for a moment. How often do we feel overwhelmed, not by the events themselves, but by our own swirling thoughts and reactions to them? The endless notifications, the relentless news cycle, the unexpected setbacks, the constant pressure to perform. Modern life often feels like a relentless storm, and it's easy to feel battered, anxious, and uncertain about how to find solid ground. We search for answers in quick fixes, in endless scrolling, in external achievements, but true peace and lasting strength often seem just out of reach. Maybe you've read the books, maybe you've watched other videos, understanding the ideas of Stoicism. You grasp the concepts of virtue, of distinguishing what's in your control from what isn't, of accepting reality as it is. But understanding is one thing, living it is another. How do you actually apply this ancient wisdom when your boss is being unreasonable, when your finances are tight, or when you're simply feeling exhausted and demotivated? This is where the real power of Stoicism lies, not just as a philosophy to be studied, but as a set of practical, daily tools. What if you could develop an inner fortress, a deep well of resilience that helps you navigate the inevitable difficulties of life with greater calm and clarity? What if you could cultivate a genuine sense of peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances? What if you could sharpen your focus, make better decisions, and live a life aligned with your deepest values, even amidst chaos? This isn't some unattainable ideal reserved for philosophers on mountaintops. It's achievable through simple, consistent practice. These aren't complicated rituals requiring hours of your day. They are small shifts in perspective, mindful exercises, and intentional habits that, when practiced regularly, can fundamentally transform your experience of life. They are the training regimen for your mind, building mental and emotional muscle just like physical exercise builds your body. In this video, we're going to explore how you can take Stoicism from the realm of intellectual concept into powerful, lived reality. We'll dive into the importance of daily practice and why these simple habits are the key to building genuine resilience, finding true peace amidst life's storms, and gaining unwavering clarity on what truly matters. If you're ready to stop just thinking about Stoicism and start living it, stick around. We're about to uncover 5 powerful practices, simple yet profound habits that you can begin integrating into your life starting today. These aren't just theories. They are actionable steps to help you become more grounded, more effective, and more at ease in the modern world. If you find value in this journey towards a more stoic life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who might also benefit, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future explorations of timeless wisdom for modern challenges. As your day winds down, you might find yourself feeling tired, ready to just switch off and relax. You might scroll through your phone, watch some TV, or just drift off to sleep without much thought about the hours that just passed. It's easy to let one day blur into the next, isn't it? But what if I told you that the most critical part of your day, from a Stoic perspective, happens after the main events are over? It's a practice as old as Stoicism itself, a powerful habit that figures like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius diligently cultivated. It's the practice of the daily review. Seneca, the great Roman Stoic philosopher and playwright, made it a nightly ritual. Before he allowed himself to sleep, he would interrogate himself about the day's actions. He wasn't just casually thinking back, he was conducting a rigorous self-examination. He'd ask questions like, what habit did I resist today? What passion did I curb? Where did I do better? Where did I behave worse? He described settling accounts with himself, reviewing where he had stumbled, where he had been strong, and where he could improve. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal journal, which we now know as Meditations, is constantly engaged in this internal dialogue. He reminds himself to check his impulses, examine his judgments, and align his will with nature, which for him included checking his adherence to virtue. Think of this daily review as keeping a moral ledger. Every night, you open the books of your character and review the day's transactions. You look at your actions, yes, but also your thoughts and your emotions. Did you react with anger when faced with a minor annoyance? Did you harbor resentful thoughts? Did you act justly in a difficult situation? Were you temperate when faced with a temptation? Were you courageous when you felt fear? Were you wise in how you used your limited time and energy? It's not about seeking perfection or wallowing in guilt. The Stoics were practical. This review is about honest self-assessment for the sake of concrete improvement. It's like a craftsman inspecting their tools and their work at the end of the day, identifying where the cut was imprecise or the tool was dull, so they can do better tomorrow. So, how do you implement this essential Stoic practice today? It doesn't require fancy equipment or hours of your time. Find just 5 or 10 minutes before bed, in a quiet space. You can sit quietly and think. Use a simple notebook or journal, or even a note-taking app on your phone. The key is consistency and honesty. Ask yourself specific questions related to the Stoic virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. For example, in what situation today did I struggle to remain rational and objective? When did I treat another person justly or unjustly? Was there a moment I avoided doing the right thing because of fear? Did I overindulge in anything? Food, drink, entertainment, complaining? Where could I have exercised more self-control or patience? Don't just list events. Reflect on your internal responses. The goal is to shine a light on your patterns, both good and bad. This awareness is the first, crucial step towards deliberate change and genuine Stoic growth. It's in this quiet, nightly accounting that we truly begin to build our character, brick by intentional brick. Imagine this: you wake up, the world outside is still quiet, maybe the coffee is brewing. Most people grab their phone, scroll through news headlines, check their social media feed, or dive straight into emails. They're immediately reacting to the world, but the Stoics had a different approach. They suggested starting your day not by reacting to the outside world, but by quietly preparing your inner world. Think about Epictetus, the former slave turned philosopher, or Emperor Marcus Aurelius writing in his Meditations. They weren't just pontificating in ivory towers. They were talking about practical, day-to-day living. One of their most powerful practices was this: before you step out the door, before you even fully engage with the demands of the day, take a few moments to consider the challenges you might face. Now, hold on. This isn't about being negative or predicting doom and gloom. It's not about inviting bad things to happen. Absolutely not. That's a common misunderstanding. The Stoics weren't pessimists. They were realists and preparers. Think of it like a pilot doing pre-flight checks. They aren't hoping for engine failure, but they're checking the systems, preparing for turbulence, reviewing procedures. A firefighter drills not because they expect a fire, but so they know exactly what to do when one happens. This morning contemplation is mental preparation. It's about bringing potential difficulties out of the realm of the sudden, shocking surprise and into the light of conscious anticipation. Epictetus talked about reminding yourself that you will likely encounter gossips, busybodies, arrogant people, ungrateful people. Marcus Aurelius mentioned similar things. Why would they do this? Because encountering these things unexpectedly can throw you off balance. It can trigger anger, frustration, anxiety, or disappointment. But if you've already considered the possibility, the impact is lessened. The shock absorber is already engaged, so to speak. When that annoying colleague starts complaining, it's not a surprise. You thought about the possibility of encountering difficult people. When your commute is delayed, it's not an unexpected disaster that ruins your morning. You considered that external events, outside your control, might not go according to plan. So, how does this look in practice? You take a moment, you ask yourself, what challenges might today bring? It could be small things. The internet might go down. You might spill coffee on your shirt. Someone might cancel a meeting last minute, or it could be bigger potential issues. You might receive criticism on a project. You might have to deliver bad news. You might face temptation to break a good habit. The key isn't just listing these things. The crucial Stoic part is asking, How would a Stoic respond to this? If the internet goes down, how would a Stoic react? They wouldn't rage at the router or curse the service provider. They would focus on what is within their control, their reaction, their judgment about the situation. They would calmly assess alternatives. Can I work offline? Can I use my phone's hotspot? Can I shift priorities? If someone criticizes your work unfairly, how would a Stoic respond? Not by lashing out, getting defensive, or collapsing in despair. They would calmly listen. They would examine the criticism honestly. Is there truth in it? If yes, they can learn and improve. If no, if it's rooted in malice or misunderstanding, they recognize it as a judgment of the other person, an external event, something not within their control, and they wouldn't let it disturb their inner peace. It's like encountering a sudden gust of wind. You don't get angry at the wind. You simply brace yourself or adjust your course. This practice isn't about preparing for the worst possible day imaginable, necessarily. It's about mentally rehearsing how you will apply Stoic principles, focusing on what's in your control, accepting externals with equanimity, maintaining your character when faced with the common friction points of daily life. It builds mental toughness and reduces the power that unexpected, external events have over your emotional state. You are fortifying your mind against the inevitable bumps in the road, making you more resilient, less reactive, and ultimately more tranquil. It's a proactive step towards peace of mind, taken before the world even gets a chance to challenge it. One of the most profound insights from Stoicism, and perhaps one of the most challenging to live by in our modern world, revolves around where we place our attention. Do we constantly focus on what we don't have, or do we learn to deeply appreciate what is already here, before us, within our grasp? The Stoics understood that much of our suffering doesn't come from the external world itself, but from our evaluation of it, particularly our focus on what is missing. We are constantly told, implicitly or explicitly, that we need more money, more possessions, more recognition, a different relationship, a better job, a healthier body. The list is endless. This perpetual state of desiring what is absent creates a chronic sense of dissatisfaction, a feeling of lack that gnaws at our peace. We mourn the things we lack, whether they are things we once had and lost, or things we simply covet from others or from an imagined future. The Stoic philosophers offered a powerful counterpoint to this corrosive habit. They argued that true richness, true contentment, doesn't come from accumulating external things, which are ultimately indifferent to our character and fragile in their existence. Instead, it comes from cultivating an inner state, an inner wealth. Seneca, writing extensively on wealth and poverty, stressed that a person is not made poor by having little, but by desiring much. He encouraged focusing on the simple necessities and finding abundance in them, rather than constantly comparing one's lot to those who have more. He essentially championed a deliberate practice of appreciating present blessings. Epictetus, the former slave-turned-philosopher, reminded his students that our happiness depends not on having what we want, but on wanting what we have. This isn't a passive resignation, but an active shift in perspective. It's recognizing that the things truly essential for a good life, our capacity for reason, our judgment, our character, are already within us. The external things we often chase are like gifts that can be given or taken away at any moment, and basing our happiness on them is building our house on shifting sand. Instead of lamenting the absence of the gifts we desire, we should cherish the fundamental capacities and the existing circumstances that allow us to live a virtuous life, however imperfect they may seem. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting in his meditations, often brought himself back to the present moment, finding value and purpose in the task at hand and the simple reality of existence. His writings imply a constant struggle against the mind's tendency to wander towards worries about the future or regrets about the past, both forms of focusing on what isn't the present reality. By grounding himself in the here and now, appreciating the current state of affairs, and recognizing the impermanence of all external things, he cultivated a sense of gratitude for what is, rather than anxiety over what is lacking or might be lost. Consider life like tending a garden. You are given a plot of land with certain soil, certain seeds, certain existing plants. You can spend all your time looking over the fence at your neighbor's garden, coveting their perfect roses or their fertile soil, feeling bitter about the weeds in your plot or the types of flowers you don't have. This focus on lack makes you miserable and prevents you from enjoying the garden you do possess. The Stoic approach, however, is to accept the garden you have been given, to appreciate the soil's potential, to tend to the plants that are already growing, to find beauty in the flowers that do bloom, even if they are not the ones you initially desired. This practice of gratitude for the existing garden shifts your focus from external comparison and internal complaint to an active engagement with an appreciation of your present reality. It's not about ignoring problems, but about acknowledging the existing good, the existing blessings, the existing capacities, and finding contentment there. This shift in focus from external wants to internal richness, from mourning lack to appreciating present blessings, is a powerful Stoic practice for cultivating deep and lasting contentment. It reorients us towards what truly matters, our inner state and the inherent value of what we already possess, both internally and in our immediate circumstances. You wake up, the alarm screams, or maybe your phone buzzes with 100 notifications. You're immediately thrust into the demands of the day, emails piling up, a mental checklist of urgent tasks forming before you've even had your first sip of coffee. It's easy, in that whirlwind of immediate pressure, to simply react, to let the external world dictate your movements, your mood, even your thoughts. We're conditioned to be responsive, to check things off, to deal with whatever fire is burning hottest. But the Stoics offer a powerful counter practice, something simple, yet profoundly transformative. It's this: before you dive headfirst into that chaos, pause, just for a few minutes, and ask yourself, what is the purpose of my day? Not just the tasks I need to complete, but how do I intend to show up? What principles will guide my actions today? This isn't about creating an exhaustive to-do list. That's important for productivity, sure, but the Stoics were focused on something deeper. They were focused on character, on virtue, on becoming the kind of person they aspired to be. When you set an intention, you're not just planning your work, you're planning your being. You're defining your moral compass for the hours ahead. Think about it like this. Imagine you're setting sail for the day. Without a destination, without a course, without a compass, you're just drifting. You might get pushed around by every current, every gust of wind. You might end up somewhere, but it won't be by design. It won't be the place you chose to go. Your intentions are your destination and your compass. They give you direction, focus, and a standard against which to measure your actions. So, what does this look like in practice? It could be as simple as taking 3 minutes after you wake up. Before you touch your phone, sit quietly, close your eyes, and ask yourself, today, I want to embody patience. Or, today, I will approach challenges with resilience. Or, today, I will speak with honesty and kindness. It's about naming the virtues or principles you want to prioritize in your interactions and your work. Setting these clear intentions aligns your efforts with your deeper values. It gives you a framework for making choices throughout the day. When a difficult situation arises, you can check back. Does this action align with my intention to be patient? Does this response reflect my commitment to honesty? This isn't about being perfect. It's about being mindful and deliberate. This simple act of defining your intention is a powerful exercise in self-mastery. It pulls you out of the reactive mode and puts you in the driver's seat of your own life, your own character. It ensures that you're not just going through the motions, but actively building the kind of person you want to be, one day, one intention at a time. The Stoics give us a powerful map for navigating the chaos of life, and perhaps the most fundamental instruction on that map is about drawing a clear line. Not just any line, but the line between what is truly ours to influence and what simply isn't. This is the heart of the Stoic philosophy of control. It's an idea so central, so foundational, that Epictetus begins his famous handbook, the Enchiridion, with it. He says, "Some things are up to us and some things are not up to us." Simple words, yet containing the key to profound peace. What is up to us? Epictetus tells us it's our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, and, in short, everything that is our own doing. These are the things that originate within us, that we have direct agency over. Think about it like this. You are the captain of your own ship, but you are not the ocean, you are not the wind, you are not the storms. You can control how you sail, how you adjust the rudder, how you trim the sails. That's your domain. What's not up to us? According to Epictetus, it's our body, our property, our reputation, positions of power, and basically, everything else that is not our own doing. These are the ocean, the wind, the storms. We can react to them, we can navigate through them, but we cannot command them to appear or disappear at our will. The Stoic insight here is that much of our suffering comes from confusing these two categories. We fret endlessly over things outside our control. What someone else thinks of us, whether the stock market goes up or down, if it will rain on our planned picnic, or why that person didn't text us back. We try to control the uncontrollable, pushing against reality like trying to hold back a tidal wave with our bare hands. It's exhausting, it's frustrating, and it's a guaranteed recipe for anxiety and disappointment. Seneca observed this too, noting how much misery humans create for themselves by worrying about external fortune. He understood that true security comes not from controlling the external world, which is inherently unpredictable, but from building an inner fortress, focusing on the only things that can truly be yours, your character and your response to events. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself to distinguish between the impression of an event and the event itself. The event happens, often outside your control, but the judgment you place upon it, whether good or bad, fair or unfair, that is entirely within your power. It's like being served food. You didn't choose what was served, but you can choose whether to accept it, how you chew and digest it, or even if you will eat it based on your own principles or needs. Your reaction, your internal narrative, is the crucial element. So, how do we apply this? The practical exercise is simple, but not easy. When faced with a challenge, setback, or daily annoyance, pause and ask, is this something I can directly control? Is this my action, my judgment, my attitude? Or is this an external event, someone else's behavior, or an outcome beyond my direct influence? If it's the former, focus your energy there. Decide how you will act, what attitude you will adopt. If it's the latter, recognize it. And external, your task shifts from changing the external to managing your internal response. This isn't passivity, it's channeling energy effectively, focusing only where it makes a real difference, on yourself. Releasing the illusion of control over externals isn't giving up. It is claiming sovereignty over the one kingdom truly yours, your inner world. We've explored the simplicity and profound power of core Stoic practices: reflection, preparation, gratitude, intention, and release. These aren't complex theories. They are practical steps to build resilience and transform your view of the world. The real value of Stoicism isn't in knowing these ideas, but in doing them, integrating them daily. This daily effort, even imperfectly, builds that unshakable inner strength we seek. Think about your day. How much space did you create for conscious reflection? Did you prepare your mind, or just react? Did you feel genuine gratitude, set a clear intention, or practice letting go of what's beyond your control? This is an invitation for honest self-assessment. Which practice resonates most with you right now? Which feels challenging, yet potentially offers the greatest personal growth? Is it gratitude, shifting focus to abundance? Preparation, moving from reactive to proactive? Or perhaps the peace found in truly letting go of what you cannot control? The Stoics faced life's messiness like this, and these practices were their tools for inner peace. I challenge you to pick just one practice from our discussion and try it for the next 24 hours. Not perfectly, just try. Observe the subtle shifts in your mindset, your responses, your perspective. This journey of applying Stoicism is personal, but not solitary. I'd love to hear which practice you're focusing on, or which you already find helpful. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's learn and grow together as a community. If this video resonated with you, if it offered a new perspective, please give it a like. It supports the channel and shows this content is valuable. If you're new or haven't subscribed, join us. Hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss future explorations of Stoic wisdom. Together, we can navigate life's challenges with more resilience and inner peace. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time and willingness to explore these powerful ideas. Keep reflecting, keep practicing, and keep striving to live well. Until next time. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words almost 2,000 years ago, and they still ring true, don't they? We've all encountered people who fit that description, whether it's a difficult colleague, a frustrating family member, or just someone whose behavior is challenging. It's easy to feel drained, frustrated, or angry when faced with these personalities. These interactions, if not handled mindfully, can absolutely derail your peace, shift your focus from what truly matters, and even affect your well-being. You might find yourself dwelling on conversations or feeling stressed about upcoming encounters. It's a universal struggle, navigating social dynamics when others are difficult. We often wish they would change, but the power lies not in changing them, but in changing you and your approach. This is where Stoicism offers powerful insight. This ancient philosophy, far from being about suppressing emotions, is a practical guide for navigating life's inevitable challenges, especially difficult people. It provides a framework for understanding human behavior and, more importantly, actionable strategies for responding in a way that protects your inner tranquility and allows you to stay focused on your own virtue, regardless of external behavior. It's about cultivating resilience, understanding your own reactions, and developing an inner strength that difficult behavior simply cannot penetrate. If you felt drained or defeated by challenging interactions and wished for a way to handle them with grace and composure, this video is for you. We're about to explore specific Stoic principles and techniques that can fundamentally change how you experience these encounters, transforming potential stress into opportunities to practice wisdom and strength. Get ready to reclaim your peace and navigate challenging relationships with quiet confidence. If you find value in this exploration of Stoicism and how it can help you manage difficult people and protect your inner peace, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future deep dives into applying ancient wisdom to modern life. We've all encountered them, haven't we? Those people who just seem to drain the energy right out of the room. The constant complainers who find fault with everything, no matter how good things are. The harsh critics who seem to exist only to point out flaws, often in you. Or maybe the demanding controllers, always trying to dictate how things should be, leaving no room for anyone else. You know the types. They can leave you feeling frustrated, annoyed, hurt, or just plain weary. It's a universal human experience, dealing with people whose behavior we find challenging, difficult, or simply grating. It's easy to label them, isn't it? To think, that person is just awful, or why are they like this? They're deliberately trying to make things hard. But here's where Stoicism offers a radically different perspective, one that can fundamentally change how you perceive and react to these interactions. From a Stoic point of view, these people aren't acting out of some inherent evilness or a targeted desire to make your life miserable. Instead, they are acting from a place that the Stoics identified as ignorance. Not ignorance in the sense of being stupid, but ignorance of what is truly good and bad, of what truly contributes to a flourishing life. They hold faulty judgments about themselves, about others, and about the world around them. Think about it through the lens of the Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself in his meditations that when people do wrong, they do so against their will, that they are simply ignorant of true good and evil. He saw their actions stemming from their own misguided beliefs and internal turmoil, not from a desire to harm him personally. Epictetus taught that what truly disturbs us is not external events or other people's actions themselves, but our judgments about them. So, when you see the constant complainer, the Stoic view suggests their behavior isn't aimed at you, but is a reflection of their internal state. Perhaps they lack gratitude, or they're consumed by fear of what might go wrong, or they hold faulty judgments that happiness comes from external perfection, which is, of course, unattainable. Their complaining is a symptom of their own internal discomfort, their own lack of inner peace, their own misguided pursuit of external things they believe will make them happy but never do. The harsh critic, their criticism might stem from their own deep-seated insecurities. By pointing out flaws in others, they might be trying to elevate themselves, or perhaps they genuinely believe that pointing out imperfections is a virtuous act, a faulty judgment rooted in misunderstanding what true virtue is. Their focus on the negative isn't necessarily a personal attack on you, but a manifestation of their own internal landscape, dominated by fear, insecurity, or a distorted view of reality. And the demanding controller, their need to control others in situations likely comes from a fear of uncertainty, a lack of trust in the natural flow of things, or a faulty judgment that their well-being depends on everything being exactly as they dictate. They are struggling with their own anxiety and project it onto the world by trying to impose order where it isn't possible. Their demands aren't a deliberate power play against you, but a reflection of their own internal struggle with insecurity and a misguided belief about where their security lies. This realization is incredibly powerful, and it's a core insight from Stoicism. It shifts the focus away from viewing these interactions as personal affronts and towards understanding them as expressions of another person's internal condition. They are acting out of their own flawed understanding, their own struggles, their own lack of Stoic wisdom. Epictetus put it simply when he spoke of people acting badly: they are doing what seems right to them. This isn't an endorsement of their behavior, but an explanation. They genuinely believe, in that moment, with their current judgments and understanding, that their actions are justified or necessary, even if those judgments are deeply flawed from a Stoic perspective. Recognizing this is the key first step. It's about detaching their behavior from your sense of self-worth or your emotional tranquility. Their actions are about them, their internal state, their ignorance of Stoic principles, not a statement about your value or a deliberate attempt to ruin your day. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you understand its root cause, which in turn gives you the power to respond differently. It moves you from feeling like a victim of their actions to seeing them as individuals struggling with their own internal misguidedness. This perspective is not just theoretical, it is the foundation for practical Stoic responses. Okay, let's dive into one of the most powerful, perhaps the most fundamental idea in Stoicism. It's a concept that, when truly grasped, can feel like unlocking shackles you didn't even realize you were wearing. Think about the last time someone did something that just drove you absolutely nuts. Maybe a coworker took credit for your idea, perhaps your partner left their stuff everywhere again, or someone cut you off in traffic. How did that feel? Frustrating, right? Like a knot tightening in your stomach. We feel this strong urge to make them stop, to make them understand, to make them behave differently. We spend energy wishing other people were different. This is where the Stoics offer a profound perspective, a fundamental tool they call the dichotomy of control. At its heart, the dichotomy of control is incredibly simple. It states that some things are within our control, and some things are not. And the key insight for this scenario, the scenario of other people and their actions, is that their actions fall squarely into the category of things outside your control. You cannot control what others say. You cannot control what others do. Their thoughts, their choices, their behaviors, these are external. They are outside your sphere of influence, as much as the weather. Picture yourself driving a car. You have your hands on your steering wheel. You can choose to turn left or right, to speed up or slow down. That's within your control. Now, imagine trying to steer the car in the lane next to you using just your mind. Sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? You have no direct mechanism to control those other vehicles. Yet, This is exactly what we attempt to do, metaphorically, when we get upset about what others are doing. We are trying to steer someone else's vehicle. Why does this cause so much suffering? Because our desire is misaligned with reality. We crave control over the uncontrollable. It's like trying to push against a brick wall expecting it to move. You expend effort, you get tired, frustrated, perhaps hurt, but the wall remains stubbornly in place. When we invest emotional energy in trying to change or wishing we could change what another person said or did, we are pushing against an unmovable wall. We are setting ourselves up for guaranteed frustration. The Stoic wisdom here isn't passive acceptance. It's radical honesty regarding where your power truly lies. Your power, your actual sphere of influence, is internal. It lies in how you respond. It lies in how you interpret the situation. It lies in your judgments, your reactions, your decisions about what to do next. Someone says something rude. They're saying it is external, beyond your control. Your reaction, feeling insulted, choosing to engage, choosing to walk away, that is within your control. Someone cuts you off. Their driving is external. Your response, honking furiously, or simply acknowledging the fact and maintaining your own safe driving, that is within your control. So, how do you apply this? The next time you feel that sting of frustration because of something someone else did, pause. Just take a breath. Ask yourself, is this action or word mine or theirs? If the honest answer is theirs, then you immediately recognize you are looking at something external. You cannot directly control it. The frustration often stems from the desire for control over that external thing. Accepting this boundary, accepting that their behavior is simply data about them, not a direct command over you, is the first step towards freedom. It frees you from the exhausting, unwinnable battle of trying to change others. It allows you to redirect that wasted energy back into your own sphere, into the things you can influence, your mindset, your actions, your character. This doesn't mean you can't set boundaries or take appropriate action if someone's behavior is harmful. But even those actions, setting a boundary, having a conversation, or your actions, your responses, which are within your control. This perspective shifts the battlefield from the chaotic, external world of other people's minds to the inner territory of your own consciousness, where you are the sovereign. It's a powerful shift. We all face difficult people. That challenging colleague at work, the impatient driver during your commute, the demanding relative during a family gathering. They can easily disrupt our peace, throw us off balance, and leave us feeling frustrated or angry. We often feel blindsided by their behavior, thinking, I can't believe they just did that, or why are they acting this way? This surprise, this unmet expectation, is often the fuse that ignites our emotional reaction. But Stoicism offers a powerful tool, an ancient practice designed precisely for moments like these. It is known as premeditatio malorum, often translated as the premeditation of evils or the contemplation of potential difficulties. While the name might sound pessimistic, it is, in fact, one of the most proactive and empowering techniques in the Stoic toolkit for building resilience and maintaining inner tranquility. One vital application of this practice, deeply rooted in the teachings of Stoic masters like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, is applying it specifically to the people we will encounter throughout our day. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal reflections, his meditations, famously begins Book 2 with this stark reminder to himself. Begin the morning by saying to yourself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. What exactly was Marcus doing here? He wasn't merely cataloging negative traits in others to dwell on them. He was engaging in premeditatio malorum focused on human behavior. He was preparing his mind by anticipating the possibility of encountering individuals who might act in ways he found challenging or disruptive. This isn't about adopting a cynical view of humanity. It's about adopting a realistic one. It's acknowledging that the world contains all sorts of people, exhibiting all sorts of behaviors, and some of those behaviors will inevitably clash with our preferences or expectations. Think of it like a mental fire drill, not for a building evacuation, but for your emotional state. You don't conduct a fire drill because you want a fire, but so that if one occurs, you react with trained composure rather than panicked chaos. Similarly, by mentally rehearsing the possibility that the person you are about to interact with might be difficult, or that a public setting might involve encountering inconsiderate behavior, you build a psychological preparedness. The primary benefit of this anticipation is the drastic reduction of surprise. When you have already contemplated the possibility of encountering impatience, or rudeness, or stubbornness, encountering it in reality doesn't feel like a sudden, unexpected attack on your peace. It becomes something you have already considered, something that falls within the realm of expected possibilities in an imperfect world. This removal of the surprise factor significantly weakens the intensity of your immediate emotional reaction. Furthermore, this practice naturally leads to a lowering of unrealistic expectations about other people's behavior. Stoicism continually teaches us to distinguish between what is within our control and what is outside of it. Other people's actions, their moods, their reactions, these are fundamentally outside of our control. Expecting everyone we meet to be perfectly rational, perfectly kind, or perfectly agreeable is setting ourselves up for perpetual disappointment and frustration. Seneca wisely observed that we should not be surprised by anything that can happen to anyone. The common lot of mankind includes encountering challenging individuals. Epictetus reminded his students that our peace is disturbed not by events themselves, but by our judgments and opinions about those events. By engaging in this form of premeditatio focused on others, you accept reality on its own terms. You prepare to meet the world as it is, populated by flawed human beings. This preparation isn't cynicism, it's resilience. It allows you to meet frustrating situations with equanimity, having mentally processed the possibility. Marcus Aurelius's morning exercise was psychological armor, acknowledging the potential for difficulty externally to reinforce inner strength. Preparing for the busybody was a reminder his peace depended on his inner state, not their behavior. This isn't passive acceptance, but active preparation to preserve your peace. It's reclaiming control over your state by focusing inward, onto your preparedness and reaction, rather than outward onto the unpredictable actions of others. It helps build that inner citadel Stoicism seats. Alright, let's talk about something challenging. We all deal with it. That person who consistently grates on your nerves. The colleague who is unnecessarily difficult. The family member whose behavior just seems bewildering and frustrating. Our natural reaction is often annoyance, judgment, maybe even anger. We see their action and we react to that action, often taking it personally. But Stoicism offers a different path, a radical shift in perspective rooted in the concept of sympathia. Picture yourself in one of these frustrating situations right now. Feel that knot in your stomach, that rising impatience. Now, take a breath. Sympathia is the Stoic idea of interconnectedness, the understanding that we are all parts of a single, vast, living organism, the cosmos, or simply, humanity itself. Think of it like your own body. If you stub your toe, your brain doesn't get angry at your toe. It recognizes the pain, but it also understands that the toe is a part of the whole you, and its suffering affects the entire system. Similarly, when another human being acts out, whether through anger, ignorance, fear, or selfishness, Stoicism suggests we view them not as an isolated entity maliciously targeting us, but as a part of the larger human body experiencing some kind of internal malfunction or suffering. This is where sympathia becomes incredibly practical when dealing with difficult people. It encourages us to look beyond the surface behavior and try to understand the underlying causes. Why are they acting this way? It's almost never about you personally, even when it feels that way. Their difficult behavior is usually a symptom of their internal state. They might be operating from a place of deep fear, crippling insecurity, misguided beliefs, past trauma, or simply profound ignorance about what is truly good or bad. Remember, the Stoics taught that people act according to what they perceive to be good, even if their perception is terribly flawed and leads them to do harmful things. They are, in a sense, mistaken rather than malicious. Thinking this way doesn't excuse their actions. It doesn't mean you have to accept mistreatment or pretend their behavior is okay. Not at all. The Stoics were clear about right and wrong action, but understanding the source of their behavior, seeing it through the lens of sympathy as a manifestation of their internal struggle, does something profound for you. It drains the personal sting from their actions. It allows you to detach your emotional reaction from their external display. You can observe the behavior without absorbing the negativity, recognizing it as a problem they are experiencing, which is manifesting externally, perhaps inconveniently for you, but stemming from their inner world. Imagine you see a child throwing a tantrum because they didn't get a toy. You understand they are acting out of frustrated desire, not because they hate you. You don't take it personally, though you might need to address the behavior. Similarly, sympathy prompts us to see the adult acting out in a similar, albeit more complex, way. They are lashing out because their inner state is one of pain, lack, or confusion. They are fundamentally mistaken about what will bring them peace or happiness. This perspective fosters patience. It cultivates a kind of compassionate detachment. You can think, this person is clearly suffering, or they are operating from a deeply flawed understanding of reality. This shifts your internal state from reactive anger to a more calm, analytical, perhaps even pitying perspective. It helps you remember that you, too, are prone to mistakes, to acting from ignorance or fear at times. We are all part of the same flawed, struggling, interconnected humanity. Practicing sympathy in this way is a powerful tool for maintaining your own tranquility in the face of external friction. It redirects your energy from futile frustration towards calm understanding and reasoned response. Let's focus deeply on guarding your inner state, your peace of mind, against the external world. Imagine your mind as a calm lake. Difficult people or challenging interactions are like external disturbances, throwing stones, creating ripples. It feels like they are causing the problem, but Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius teach that external things, including others' behavior, cannot disturb your inner state unless you allow it. It's your judgment, your reaction, that creates the inner storm. View these difficult interactions as tests of your Stoic virtues. Can you maintain equanimity, practice patience, justice, self-control? Their external storm is your chance to cultivate inner calm. Do not let their chaos infect your inner lake. Allowing their negativity compromises your ability to think clearly, act virtuously. Seneca warned against this loss of control. Guarding your inner peace is crucial for living by reason. Protecting your inner tranquility sometimes requires setting boundaries. This isn't punishment, it's safeguarding your capacity for virtue. If interactions undermine your patience or reason, setting a boundary, limiting contact, disengaging calmly, is like building a breakwater. It protects your ability to act according to Stoic principles. Practice equanimity. See difficult people as tests. Guard your inner state fiercely from the external storm, remaining master of your mind and actions. So, we've journeyed together through the Stoic perspective on navigating those difficult waters of challenging relationships. We've seen how the true battle isn't fought externally, trying to change someone else, but internally, within the fortress of your own mind. The core teaching, as we explored, revolves around anchoring yourself in what you can control: your judgments, your reactions, your character. This isn't just theory, it's a radical call to arms for your inner life. It's about understanding that their anger, their criticism, their indifference, these are their burdens, their struggles, stemming from their own internal state, their own judgments. Your power lies in refusing to let their external chaos penetrate and disrupt your internal tranquility. It's a constant practice of discernment. Is this within my sphere of influence? If not, can I meet it with wisdom, acceptance, and a steadfast commitment to my own virtues? The real application comes when you're in the moment, facing that difficult conversation or frustrating interaction. Can you pause? Can you remember that your peace is paramount? Can you choose a response aligned with patience, understanding, or dignified detachment, rather than reactivity? This is where Stoicism moves from a philosophy you study to a life you live. Take a moment right now. Think about a specific relationship in your life that feels challenging. Where is the friction coming from? Now, consider where your attention and energy are usually focused in that situation. Are they directed outward, wishing the other person were different? Or can you pivot inward, focusing on how you choose to perceive the situation and how you choose to respond? This inner pivot isn't a sign of weakness or resignation. It is the ultimate act of self-possession and strength. It is cultivating an inner citadel that remains unshaken, no matter the external storm. This path builds true resilience, forging a character capable of weathering any human interaction with grace and wisdom. It empowers you by placing your well-being squarely back in your own hands. If this exploration of Stoicism in relationships resonated with you, if it offered even a flicker of insight or a new perspective, please consider giving this video a like. Your likes help this timeless wisdom reach more people who might be struggling with similar challenges. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos exploring how to apply these profound philosophies to modern life. I truly value this community we are building. Share your thoughts in the comments below. How do you apply Stoicism when relationships get tough? What practices help you safeguard your internal peace? Let's learn from each other, support each other, and deepen our understanding together. Thank you for spending your time here, for engaging with these ideas, and for being part of this journey towards a more resilient and virtuous life. May your practice bring you clarity, peace, and strength in all your relationships. Until next time. We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. Epictetus, think about that simple yet profound idea. How often do we feel overwhelmed, anxious, or frustrated, not because of an event itself, but because of the story we tell ourselves about it? That internal turmoil, it's often within our control, yet feels overwhelming. What if there was a way to navigate this inner world more skillfully? An ancient path offering practical tools to build unshakable inner strength, a way to face adversity head-on, not just survive it, but grow. That is the promise of Stoicism, not a philosophy of detachment, but a guide to living a good, resilient life in a chaotic world. In this video, we're diving into the practical methods the Stoics actually used. Tools forged in real-life struggles, just like ours. We'll explore powerful techniques, negative visualization, the clarity of the dichotomy of control, transforming obstacles into opportunities, embracing intentional discomfort, and the reflective power of journaling. These aren't abstract ideas, they are actionable steps you can integrate daily to cultivate a more robust, adaptable, peaceful existence. Get ready to discover how applying these timeless practices can fundamentally change how you experience the world. Let's begin this journey towards a more resilient you. If you find this video helpful, please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more insights on applying ancient wisdom to modern life. Have you ever felt that gut punch when something you totally took for granted was suddenly gone? Maybe it was something small like your phone, or something bigger, like a period of good health, or even a relationship that ended unexpectedly. It can leave you feeling blindsided, vulnerable, and asking yourself, why didn't I appreciate it more while I had it? It's a common human experience, isn't it? We get so used to the stability of life, the people around us, the things we possess, that they just fade into the background of our awareness. We often only recognize their true value in their absence. But what if there was a way to feel that sense of appreciation now, without having to suffer a loss first? What if you could build a kind of mental resilience against the shocks of fortune, so when setbacks inevitably occur, they don't completely derail you? This isn't about being negative or dwelling on doom and gloom. It's about a powerful, practical technique rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics called it premeditatio malorum, which translates roughly to the premeditation of evils, or contemplating potential misfortunes. Now, I know that might sound a little dark. Why would you intentionally think about bad things happening? Isn't that just inviting misery? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about wallowing in sorrow. They were pragmatic realists focused on building inner strength and living well regardless of external circumstances. Thinkers like Seneca wrote extensively about this practice in his letters. He would encourage contemplating the loss of wealth, status, health, and even loved ones. Not because he wanted to feel sad, but precisely so that when these things might happen, they wouldn't shatter his inner peace or take him by complete surprise. It's about rehearsing adversity in your mind, like an athlete mentally practicing a difficult play. By deliberately thinking about the possibility of losing what you value, your job, your health, your possessions, or even the people you love, two incredibly powerful things happen simultaneously. First, it shines a spotlight on how precious these things are right now. When you imagine your life without something or someone you cherish, you suddenly see their presence in your life with fresh eyes, with a clarity and gratitude you likely didn't feel moments before. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting in his meditations, often contemplated the fleeting nature of life and everything in it, reminding himself that everyone and everything is here only for a moment. This awareness fueled his appreciation for the present and his interactions with others. Second, this practice diminishes the power of future setbacks. Seneca put it this way: he suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary. By mentally confronting potential difficulties, you reduce the fear and anxiety associated with them. You mentally prepare yourself when misfortune does strike, and it inevitably will in some form. Your mind has already visited this territory. It's like hearing news you already half expected. The shock is lessened, the emotional impact is softened. You've already considered how you might cope, how you might respond according to your values, even in difficult circumstances. So, how do you actually do this? It doesn't require hours of morbid reflection. You can incorporate it briefly into your daily routine. Perhaps during your morning coffee or before bed, take a few moments to consider one aspect of your life you value deeply. Maybe it's your physical health. Spend a minute imagining what life would be like if you were suddenly unable to do the things you currently can. Then, immediately pivot to the feeling of gratitude for the health you possess today, right now. Or think about a close friend or family member. Consider the possibility, however unlikely it seems at this moment, that they might not always be in your life. Allow that possibility to sink in for a moment. How does it make you feel about your relationship with them right now? Use that feeling to fuel appreciation and perhaps even motivate you to connect with them today. It's a simple but profound mental exercise. It's not about manifesting negative outcomes. It's about preparing your mind for the reality of impermanence and uncertainty that is fundamental to the human condition. By confronting the possibility of loss in the tranquility of your mind, you build resilience, cultivate profound gratitude for the present, and ensure that you are living with open eyes, truly appreciating the life you have, before circumstances force you to see its value in hindsight. This is a cornerstone of Stoic practice, designed not to make you sad, but to make you stronger, more grateful, and more present. Let's dive into what might be the most fundamental, the most liberating idea in all of Stoicism. Think about your day-to-day life. How much energy do you spend worrying? Worrying about what other people think of you, worrying about whether the economy will crash, worrying if you'll get that promotion or if your flight will be on time. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The waves are crashing, the wind howling. Imagine trying to control that ocean with your bare hands, trying to smooth every ripple, command every gust of wind. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? It's an exhausting, futile effort. Yet, this is often how we live. We spend countless hours, mountains of emotional energy, trying to manipulate things fundamentally outside our power. The Stoics understood this. They offered a simple, yet powerful, framework, the dichotomy of control. Look at everything and divide it into two columns. Column 1. Things you can directly control. Column 2. Things you cannot directly control. It's not zero influence on column 2. Our actions can impact external outcomes, but the key is direct control. Can you absolutely guarantee the outcome? Can you force the external event purely by willing it? Think about getting stuck in traffic. Can you control the lights, other drivers, the road closure? No, you can't. Column 2. Now, your reaction to being stuck. Can you choose to get angry and stressed? Yes. Can you choose instead to take deep breaths, put on calming music? Yes. Your reaction, your judgment about the situation, your response. These are firmly in column 1. Within your direct power, another view. A game of poker. You can't control the cards dealt. External, outside control. But you control how you play the hand. Your strategy, your betting, your reaction. Your skill, your judgment, your choices, internal. This distinction is critical. Why? When we focus our energy, our worry, our efforts on things in column 1, our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, our character, our effort yields results. We build inner strength, refine responses, live aligned with values. We steer the ship we can steer, our inner world. But when we pour energy into column 2, trying to force others to like us, stressing about the weather, panicking about markets, it's like trying to control that ocean. Exhausting, frustrating, ultimately making us feel powerless and anxious. We become dependent on unstable, unpredictable external circumstances for peace of mind. So, the practical takeaway, the actionable step, start noticing. When you feel anxiety, frustration, or worry, pause. Ask, is the source something I can directly control? Am I upset about something external, someone else's behavior, an event, an outcome? Or am I upset about my judgment of that thing, my reaction to it? If it's external, column 2, the Stoic practice is acceptance. Not passive resignation, but acknowledging reality. It is what it is. Then, deliberately, pivot your focus back to column 1. What can I control in this moment? My breath, how I choose to think about this. My next action. This redirection is where your power truly lies. It's a muscle to build. We all face difficulties. It's an unavoidable part of being alive. Maybe it's a project at work that fails, a financial setback you didn't see coming, or a personal relationship struggles. Our immediate reaction is often negative. We feel frustrated, perhaps angry, overwhelmed. We see these things as problems, things standing in our way, preventing us from reaching our goals or finding peace. And in that moment, the obstacle feels like an enemy, something to be defeated, avoided, or complained about. This is often our default human setting. But the Stoics offered a radically different perspective. They didn't deny that challenges are difficult. They weren't seeking pain. Instead, they taught us to look at these very same obstacles, these difficulties, and see them not as roadblocks, but as opportunities. Not as problems to be eliminated, but as raw material for growth. Think of it like this. A sculptor doesn't see a block of marble as a problem. They see it as the potential for a masterpiece. The resistance of the stone isn't an enemy. It's the very substance they must work with to create their vision. The challenge is the process itself. This concept is central to Stoicism. It's about shifting our perception from, "This is bad because it's happening to me," to, "How can I use this to become better?" Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, captured this perfectly in his Meditations. He famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He saw obstacles not as detours, but as the actual path itself. Every difficulty, every setback, was an invitation to practice his Stoic principles, to exercise virtue. If he faced injustice, it was a chance to practice justice. If he faced fear, it was a chance to practice courage. If he faced frustration, it was a chance to practice temperance and patience. The obstacle was the training ground for his character. Epictetus, the former slave who became a Stoic teacher, approached this by focusing on what is truly in our power. The external event, the car breaking down, the project failing, The relationship strain is outside our control. We cannot always choose what happens to us, but our reaction to it, our judgment about it, how we respond, that is entirely within our power. He would argue that the obstacle itself isn't what harms us, it's our judgment about the obstacle that causes suffering. When we see a challenge as a catastrophe, we create suffering. When we see it as an opportunity to practice resilience and virtue, we empower ourselves. It's like the difference between being knocked down by a wave and letting it drag you under, versus using its energy to propel you forward. The wave is the same, but your relationship to it, your use of its power, is fundamentally different. Seneca, another pillar of Stoic thought, viewed adversity as a necessary test, a proving ground for character. Difficulty shows what men are, he wrote. He saw challenges not as something to fear, but as something that reveals our strength and allows us to temper it further. Just as fire refines gold, challenges refine character. They force us to dig deep, to find creative solutions we might not have considered otherwise, to build a resilience we didn't know we had. The comfort zone is stagnant. Growth happens when we are pushed beyond it. Obstacles are the push. This Stoic practice isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about acknowledging the difficulty, feeling the sting, but then consciously choosing how to frame it, how to use it. It's about asking, given this challenge, what is the virtuous response? How can I act with wisdom? How can I maintain my inner freedom and peace regardless of this external event? It's about seeing the resistance as the workout, the weight that builds the muscle of your character. Every frustration, every setback, every moment of unfairness, these are not just annoyances. They are the very exercises that strengthen your Stoic resolve, that make you more resilient, more capable, and ultimately a better person. They are the raw material from which you forge a stronger, more virtuous self. We live in a world that constantly caters to our comfort. Think about it. We have climate control in our homes and cars, delivery services bringing food and goods right to our door, instant entertainment at our fingertips, and devices that minimize physical effort. And there's nothing inherently wrong with comfort, right? It's nice. It's what we often work hard for. But have you ever stopped to consider what this constant pursuit and expectation of comfort might be doing to us? To our inner state, the Stoics looked at this very thing, albeit without the modern conveniences we have today. They understood that becoming too soft, too reliant on ease and comfort, makes us fragile. It makes us vulnerable to the inevitable ups and downs of life. If your happiness is built on always having a warm bed, a full pantry, and smooth sailing, what happens when the unexpected storm hits? When things don't go exactly as planned? When you lose something you've grown accustomed to having? This is where a profound Stoic principle comes in, one that seems counterintuitive at first glance. It's the idea of voluntarily exposing yourself to minor inconveniences, not because you enjoy suffering, but because it's a powerful form of training. Think of it like strength training for your mind and spirit. You don't lift heavy weights all the time, but you regularly challenge your muscles to make them stronger, more resilient, capable of handling heavier loads when needed. In the same way, intentionally facing small discomforts helps build your inner strength and adaptability. What kind of minor inconveniences are we talking about? Nothing extreme. It's not about going to live in the wilderness or denying yourself basic needs. It's about choosing discomfort on purpose in small, manageable ways. Maybe it's taking a slightly colder shower than you normally would, just turning the dial down a bit for the last minute or two. Or choosing to eat a simple, even bland, meal sometimes, rather than always seeking out exciting flavors or your absolute favorite dish. It could be walking a short distance instead of driving, even if it's a bit chilly or you're in a slight hurry. It's about consciously opting for the less convenient path, the path that requires a little more from you physically or mentally. Why do this? Because each time you voluntarily choose discomfort, you send a powerful message to yourself. You prove that you are not a slave to your preferences or your environment. You demonstrate that you can function, even thrive, without everything being perfectly comfortable. You build tolerance for things not going your way. This practice slowly erodes your dependence on external circumstances for your well-being. Your happiness becomes less tied to having constant warmth, perfect temperature, or immediate gratification. Furthermore, these voluntary acts of discomfort cultivate deep appreciation for the comforts you do have. When you've experienced a genuinely cold shower, that regular warm shower feels like pure luxury. After eating a simple, nutritious meal, a more elaborate dinner becomes a real treat, not just the standard expectation. This isn't about deprivation, it's about recalibrating your baseline. It helps you see that much of what you usually take for granted is, in fact, a form of wealth and privilege. You start to appreciate the simple things more profoundly. This perspective shift is incredibly powerful in fostering contentment and reducing the constant craving for more or better. So, the challenge here, the practical application, is to identify small ways in your daily life where you can choose the slightly less comfortable option. It requires conscious effort and a willingness to push past your initial resistance. Remember, you're not doing this to suffer, but to practice. To build that inner resilience, to become less fragile and more capable of handling whatever life throws at you, comfortable or not. It's about gaining freedom from your own desire for constant ease. All right, let's talk about one of the most powerful, yet simple, tools in the Stoic arsenal, one that's been used for centuries by philosophers and emperors alike. We're talking about journaling. Think of your journal not just as a diary of events, but as a mirror for your mind. It's your private workshop, your personal gymnasium for Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius himself, the philosopher emperor, didn't write his meditations for publication. He wrote it to himself, as a tool for self-examination and reflection, essentially a journal of his thoughts, struggles, and progress. His work is perhaps the most famous historical example of this practice. When you sit down with your journal, you're doing precisely what Marcus Aurelius did thousands of years ago, taking stock of your internal world. Why is this so crucial from a Stoic perspective? Because Stoicism is fundamentally about understanding and improving your inner self, your judgments, your reactions, your character, the things that are truly within your control. Your journal is where you shine a light into the hidden corners of your mind. It's where you can catch those fleeting thoughts, those knee-jerk judgments, those irrational fears that often dictate your feelings and actions without you even realizing it. Epictetus taught extensively about the power of our judgments, saying it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations of them. Your journal is the perfect place to dissect these interpretations. An event happens, you feel a certain way. In your journal, you can unpack that feeling. Was it the event itself, or was it your judgment about the event? This process helps you see the difference, granting you clarity and control over your emotional responses. Journaling also acts like a captain's logbook for your journey towards virtue. You can track your progress, or lack thereof, in applying Stoic principles. Did you face a frustrating situation today? How did you react? Did you remember the dichotomy of control, focusing only on what you could influence? Did you practice patience, or did you let anger get the better of you? Writing these incidents down, reflecting on your responses, helps you identify patterns. Maybe you consistently get annoyed by traffic, or frustrated by a colleague. By documenting these instances, you see them clearly, like observing a plant in your garden to understand its needs. This awareness is the first step towards change. You can then plan how you might respond differently next time, strengthening your mental resilience bit by bit, like building an internal fortress brick by brick. Seneca, in his letters, often advised examining the day's actions and thoughts before sleep, a form of journaling focused on ethical review. Furthermore, journaling is invaluable for clarifying your values and aligning your actions with them. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters according to Stoic philosophy: wisdom, justice, courage, temperance. Your journal is where you can revisit these core virtues. Did your actions today reflect your commitment to justice? Did you face a difficult truth with courage? Writing helps crystallize these abstract concepts into practical application. It forces you to articulate what you believe and how you are living those beliefs. It's like an architect reviewing the blueprint, ensuring the construction matches the design. So, how do you make this practical? Set aside a few minutes each day, maybe in the morning to set an intention based on Stoic principles, or in the evening to review the day. Ask yourself, what challenges did I face? How did I respond? What judgments did I make? What was within my control, and what was not? Where could I have applied a Stoic virtue more effectively? This consistent, deliberate practice of self-reflection through journaling is a cornerstone of living a more thoughtful, resilient, and virtuous life, firmly rooted in the wisdom of the Stoics. So, we've walked through 5 powerful Stoic practices together today. Negative visualization, the dichotomy of control, seeing obstacles as opportunities, intentional discomfort, and the profound clarity found in journaling. It's easy to hear about these ideas and think, that makes sense. But the true magic, the lasting change, doesn't happen in the understanding alone. It happens in the doing. This isn't theoretical philosophy, it's a practical guide to living a better life. It's about taking these ancient tools and applying them consistently in the messy, unpredictable reality of your everyday existence. It's in the regular practice of negative visualization that you build gratitude for what you have right now. It's in constantly remembering the dichotomy of control that you release anxiety over things outside your power and focus fiercely on your own responses. It's by actively looking for the lessons in challenges that you transform setbacks into stepping stones. It's through intentionally stepping outside your comfort zone that you build resilience and courage. And it's in the quiet discipline of journaling that you gain clarity on your thoughts, your progress, and your path. These practices aren't quick fixes. They are the ongoing work of cultivating inner peace and resilience. They are the foundation you build within yourself, one conscious choice, one intentional action at a time. Now, take a moment and think, which of these 5 practices speaks most directly to your current struggles? Which one feels like the right place for you to start applying Stoicism in your life today? Don't just absorb the information, activate it. This journey of self-mastery is deeply personal, but you don't have to walk it alone. This community is a place for shared learning and mutual support. If you found value in this exploration of Stoic practices, please give this video a like. It truly helps the channel reach more people seeking these timeless tools. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future videos diving deeper into Stoicism and practical philosophy for modern life. Join the conversation in the comments below. Share your thoughts, your experiences, or which practice you're committing to this week. Let's learn and grow together. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community. Keep practicing, keep reflecting, and keep building that unshakable foundation within yourself. Until next time, stay wise and stay strong. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. Marcus Aurelius wrote those words thousands of years ago, a stark, honest acknowledgement of a truth that remains just as relevant now as it was then. Life, in its beautiful complexity, inevitably presents challenges, and among the most common, perhaps the most draining, are the difficult people we encounter, whether they are colleagues, family members, strangers online, or even close friends. They can feel like relentless waves crashing against our inner calm, disrupting our tranquility, testing our patience to its absolute limit, and pushing against the very principles we try diligently to live by. You might find yourself asking, how is it truly possible to maintain your Stoic composure, to uphold your principles in peace, when faced with negativity, irrationality, or outright hostility from another person? How do you protect your internal world when someone else seems determined to invade it? This is precisely where the enduring wisdom of Stoicism shines brightest, offering not just abstract philosophy, but practical, actionable strategies for navigating these often turbulent human waters without sacrificing your own well-being or abandoning your rational mind. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into understanding why difficult people behave the way they do, exploring how Stoicism teaches us to see their actions not as a personal attack designed specifically for us, but as a reflection of their own internal state, their own judgments, and their own struggles. We will explore concrete techniques and perspectives from Stoic philosophy that can help you remain unperturbed, allowing you to master your response regardless of how others behave. This isn't about finding ways to change or control them, which is impossible anyway, but about transforming your experience of these interactions, focusing intensely on what truly remains within your sphere of influence, your own thoughts, your own judgments, and your commitment to virtue. If you are ready to learn how to cultivate an inner resilience, a kind of unshakable peace that allows you to stand firm like a rock against the often stormy sea of other people's negativity, and reclaim your tranquility, then you are in the right place. Stick around, because we are about to uncover the Stoic path to handling difficult people. Before we jump into the core principles, if you find value in exploring these timeless ideas and practical techniques for modern life, please do take a moment to like this video, share it with someone else who might benefit from hearing this message, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future insights rooted in Stoic wisdom. Let's begin uncovering the Stoic way to navigate difficult people. Have you ever felt that sharp sting when someone's words or actions cut deep? A dismissive comment from a colleague, a friend's thoughtless remark, or just someone being outright rude? We've all been there, that immediate feeling of being attacked, of taking it personally. It feels like it's about you, directed at you, maybe even intended to hurt you. But what if that reaction, that feeling of being personally targeted, is based on a misunderstanding? The Stoic philosophers offer a profound insight here, one that can free you from so much unnecessary emotional pain. Epictetus, the former slave who became a great teacher, tells us that people's actions don't originate with you. They originate with them. He explains that every person acts based on what seems right to them at that moment, based on their understanding, their beliefs, their impressions of the world. If someone lashes out in anger, it's not necessarily because you are inherently bad. It's because they are struggling with anger, perhaps feeling threatened or misunderstood from their perspective. They are acting out their internal state. This is crucial. Their behavior is a product of their internal logic, however flawed. Often, Epictetus points out, it stems from ignorance, a lack of understanding of what is truly good or bad, or simply a mistaken judgment. Or it comes from their own vices or stresses. They are not operating from a script written about your flaws. They are operating from their own, deeply personal, internal landscape. When you truly grasp this, it's incredibly liberating. When faced with difficult behavior, instead of feeling the automatic pull to take it personally, you can see it differently. You can observe it as an external event, originating from the other person, driven by their internal conditions, their fears, their beliefs, their ignorance, their stress, things entirely outside of your control and, crucially, likely not fundamentally about you. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on the difficult people he encountered as emperor, often reminded himself that they were acting out of ignorance. They don't know better, seeing their actions as errors stemming from their own internal state, rather than intentional attacks on you, changes everything. It stops the immediate surge of personal offense. So, how do you apply this? The next time someone's actions trigger that feeling of being personally attacked, pause. Take a breath, remind yourself, this action is coming from them. It is a manifestation of their internal state, their impressions, their struggles, their, perhaps mistaken, view of the world. It's not a direct, objective assessment or attack on who you are. See it as an event originating externally, driven by forces within the other person. By consistently practicing this shift in perspective, you disentangle your emotional state from others' behavior. You stop giving their actions power over your inner peace. This is a powerful step towards emotional resilience and independence. We've all encountered them, haven't we? The person who seems determined to drain the energy out of the room, the one who can find a problem in any solution, or the individual whose unpredictability keeps you on edge. It's a common human experience, dealing with what we might instinctively categorize as difficult people. Our minds are quick to label, aren't they? We tag them as the perpetual complainer, the overbearing controller, the subtle manipulator, or maybe the volatile hothead. It's easy, almost automatic, to file them away into these neat, albeit frustrating, categories. And in a way, identifying these types feels like a form of preparation, doesn't it? Knowing someone tends to complain might make you brace yourself for negativity. Recognizing a controller's pattern might make you anticipate resistance to change. But here is where Stoicism offers a profoundly different approach, one that can fundamentally alter your reaction and protect your inner peace. The Stoics weren't just armchair philosophers. They were intensely practical thinkers, concerned with living well in the real world, which, of course, includes interacting with all sorts of people. They understood this tendency to label, but they cautioned against getting trapped by it. Why? Because when we label someone, especially with a negative tag, we often invite the associated emotions directly into our own minds. Labeling someone a manipulator can immediately trigger feelings of suspicion, anger, or defenselessness. Calling someone a complainer can instantly breed impatience or frustration within us. The Stoic path suggests we see things differently. Instead of labeling and judging, which pulls us into an emotional reaction, Stoicism invites us to observe their actions without that immediate emotional entanglement. Think of it this way. The Stoics saw these difficult behaviors not as inherent evil or a deliberate plot against you, but as simply a manifestation of their internal state, often a state of unreason or misinformation. Picture someone attempting to build a complex structure, but they've been given faulty tools or an incorrect blueprint. Their struggle, their errors, the unstable result, it all stems from that initial lack of correct information or proper equipment. They aren't trying to build something poorly. They are simply operating with the resources they have, which are inadequate. Applying this lens to difficult people, the Stoic view is that their frustrating behaviors, the complaining, the controlling, the criticizing, are like those faulty tools or incorrect blueprints in their mind. They are acting from a place where their reasoning is flawed, their understanding of virtue is absent or distorted, or they are driven by incorrect beliefs about what is good or bad. Imagine someone who genuinely believes that the only way to be safe is to control every tiny detail around them. Their controlling behavior isn't necessarily born of malice, but a misguided attempt to achieve security based on a false premise. Or someone who complains constantly because they mistakenly believe that complaining is the only way to get attention or sympathy. So, the practical, actionable step is this. When you encounter difficult behavior, shift from labeling and judging to observing and understanding from a distance, like a scientist studying a natural phenomenon. Instead of thinking, here comes the complainer again, try thinking, here is an instance of someone operating from the belief that negative focus is necessary. Watch their actions as data points. How do they escalate conflict? What are their triggers? What are the predictable patterns of their unreason? See their behavior not as a personal affront, but as a predictable output of their internal programming, faulty as it may be. This doesn't mean you excuse the behavior or allow yourself to be treated poorly. Far from it, it means you understand the source of the behavior lies within them, not within you, and it's rooted in their lack of wisdom or reason, not their power over you. By observing their patterns without emotional judgment, without getting angry at the storm for being a storm, you gain clarity. You can anticipate their moves. You can see the trap of getting emotionally involved and consciously choose not to step into it. This practice of detached observation empowers you. It allows you to respond strategically, rather than react emotionally, and it keeps your own inner citadel, your peace of mind, protected from the turbulence of their unreason. You become an observer of the human condition, witnessing errors in judgment and logic play out, rather than a victim tossed about by them. Think about the last time someone really got under your skin. Maybe it was that coworker who always interrupts, the driver who cut you off, or a family member who said something hurtful. Your immediate reaction is probably a surge of frustration, maybe anger. Your pulse quickens, your thoughts race, and you feel that familiar tightening in your chest. This is a completely natural, human reaction, but it's also the kind of reaction the Stoics spent their lives trying to master. They understood that while we can't control other people's actions, we have absolute control over our response. And one of their most powerful tools for navigating these difficult human interactions wasn't just toughing it out or ignoring the person. It was a deeply rational form of empathy, rooted in the understanding of our shared humanity. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, often reminds himself of this fundamental truth. He would look at the people around him, even those who were being unfair, annoying, or downright wicked, and see them not as separate, alien entities, but as fellow human beings. He saw them as parts of the same single cosmic community, fellow citizens of the world. He wasn't excusing their behavior, but trying to understand its source. He wrote, "When you have been compelled by circumstances to be disturbed in a manner, quickly return to yourself, and do not continue out of tune longer than the compulsion lasts. For you will have more mastery over the harmony by constantly recurring to it." Part of this returning to harmony was remembering who the other person was, beneath the frustrating surface. The Stoic perspective here isn't about feeling sorry for the difficult person in a purely emotional way. It's more about using reason to understand why they might be acting that way. Seneca, for instance, often explored the roots of anger, both in ourselves and others. He suggested that understanding the underlying causes, perhaps fear, ignorance, misguided beliefs, or simply struggling with their own internal turmoil, can help dissolve our own anger. It's like seeing someone stumble because they tripped over an unseen obstacle. You might still be inconvenienced, but your anger is lessened when you understand the cause wasn't malicious intent, but simply a mistake or a struggle. Epictetus, the former slave who became a great Stoic teacher, taught his students to focus solely on what is within their power, their own judgments and reactions. When faced with someone difficult, he would urge you to look inward at your own perception of the event, rather than outward at the other person's fault. But intertwined with this is the understanding that the other person, acting in a way you deem irrational or frustrating, is simply acting according to their present understanding of the world, however flawed that might be. They are pursuing what they believe, in that moment, to be good or necessary, even if it's objectively wrong or harmful. Think of it like watching a play where one actor keeps missing their cues. You could get angry at their incompetence, or you could step back and consider that maybe they're new, maybe they didn't get enough rehearsal time, maybe they're distracted by a personal crisis you know nothing about. The Stoics encourage this kind of mental shift. Instead of labeling the person inherently bad or evil based on one action, you see them as a human being struggling, perhaps misguided by false beliefs. Marcus Aurelius would tell himself, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget his anger." This isn't just about humility. It's about recognizing that we, too, are prone to errors, driven by imperfect understanding, and part of the same flawed, striving humanity. This reasoned empathy doesn't mean you have to tolerate abuse or injustice. The Stoics were not doormats. You can still take appropriate action, defending yourself, setting boundaries, seeking justice, but you do so from a place of rational response, not emotional turmoil. You address the behavior or the situation, not the person's perceived character, remembering that their character is, in Stoic terms, their inner prohairesis, their will or faculty of choice, which is ultimately their own domain. By viewing them through this lens of shared, often struggling, humanity and understanding the potential roots of their behavior, you create a psychological distance. You detach your peace of mind from their imperfect actions. Their storm rages on their side of the street, and you remain calm and collected on yours, not because you're indifferent, but because you understand the nature of the storm and recognize that you don't have to get caught in it. You see the tangled threads, understand they are part of the same fabric, and choose not to let their knots unravel your own composure. Okay, let's dive deep into perhaps the most fundamental, the most liberating idea in all of Stoicism. It's the compass that guides everything else, the key to unlocking that inner peace we often feel is just out of reach. This idea is surprisingly simple, yet incredibly challenging to live by day in and day out. It's about understanding the absolute, undeniable line between what is genuinely within your power and what is unequivocally outside of it. Think about your life right now. What takes up most of your mental energy? Is it worrying about what someone else said or did? Fretting over how a situation you had no control over turned out? Dwelling on the past or agonizing about a future you can't predict? Most of us spend an enormous amount of time and emotional energy wrestling with things that, if we're brutally honest, we cannot actually change or direct. We're trying to steer a ship from shore, expecting the waves to obey our commands. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, a former slave who became a respected teacher, laid this out with crystal clarity right at the beginning of his Enchiridion, his handbook for life. He says, "Some things are within our power, while others are not." Simple words, profound implications. What exactly is within our power? Our judgments, our desires, our aversions, our actions. That's it. These are the things that truly belong to us, the only territory where we hold absolute sovereignty. Your opinion about something, whether you want a certain outcome, whether you try to avoid something, and what you choose to do in any given moment, these are yours. Now, what's outside your power? Almost everything else. Other people's opinions of you, their behavior, the weather, traffic, whether you get that promotion, your health declining with age, whether your favorite team wins, whether the economy does well. All of these countless external factors are, to varying degrees, not up to you. You can influence some of them, sure. You can prepare for the weather, you can work hard for the promotion, you can live healthily. But the ultimate outcome is not guaranteed and not solely in your hands. And the behavior and opinions of others, absolutely outside your control. You can be the kindest, most rational person, and someone might still dislike you for reasons entirely their own. You can argue your point perfectly, and someone might still disagree. Trying to force someone to think or act the way you want them to is like trying to push a rope. It just doesn't work, and you end up exhausted and frustrated. Picture this: you're driving on the highway, and someone cuts you off aggressively. What's your initial reaction? Maybe anger, frustration, maybe you honk, maybe you mutter something under your breath. You're focused on their bad driving, their rudeness. You're trying, in your mind, to control their past action or influence their future behavior by your reaction. But you can't. Their action is done. Their state of mind is theirs. What is within your power in that moment? Your judgment of the event. You can judge it as a personal attack, a sign of the terrible state of society, or simply a momentary lapse by a rushed person. Your desire. Do you desire to get even, to teach them a lesson? Or do you desire to remain calm and focused on your own driving? Your action. Do you honk and tailgate, escalating the situation? Or do you breathe, adjust your speed, and continue safely? This simple scenario highlights the critical choice you have in every moment. The external event, being cut off, is outside. Your internal response, judgment, desire, action, is inside. Stoicism doesn't say don't try to achieve things in the external world. Of course, strive for goals, work hard, treat people well. But it fundamentally shifts where you place your peace and well-being. If your peace depends on traffic flowing smoothly, on everyone you meet being polite, on your boss always appreciating you, on the weather being perfect for your plans, you are setting yourself up for constant distress. Because the external world is inherently unpredictable and uncontrollable, your peace comes from within. It comes from mastering your internal responses. It comes from aligning your will, your intentions, with reason and virtue, regardless of what the world throws at you. When you truly grasp and internalize this distinction, when you stop banging your head against the wall of things you cannot control and instead focus all your energy, all your effort, on the things you can control, your internal world, that's where transformation begins. That's where resilience is built. That's where genuine freedom and tranquility are found. It's not about becoming passive. It's about becoming strategically active in the only domain where your actions have guaranteed power. your own mind and your own conduct. We live in a world full of noise, a constant bombardment of opinions, actions, and energies from others. Sometimes, this external pressure feels overwhelming, as if the chaos outside is trying to barge right into the quiet space within us. The Stoics understood this challenge intimately. They recognized that while we can't control what others say or do, we possess absolute sovereignty over our inner world, the place they often called the inner citadel. Think of this citadel as a fortress built around your core values, your rationality, your peace of mind. It's your sanctuary, your last line of defense against the turbulence of the external world. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, speaks often of this inner stronghold, urging us to retreat into it whenever disturbed, to find tranquility not in escaping the world, but in mastering our response to it from within this protected space. But how do we keep the gates of this citadel guarded? It's not about building physical walls around ourselves or becoming hermits. It's about installing a mental filtering system. When someone says something hurtful or acts in a way that irritates you, imagine their words or actions as stones being thrown at your fortress walls. They hit the wall, they make a noise, but if your defenses are strong, they don't penetrate to the core. Your inner peace remains untouched. This is the practice of rational detachment. It means observing what is happening without immediately internalizing it, without letting it trigger an automatic, emotional storm inside you. You see the stone, you register it landed, but you don't pick it up and carry it around inside your citadel. This brings us directly to one of the most fundamental Stoic teachings, the dichotomy of control. Epictetus lays this out clearly. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. Things within our control are primarily our judgments, our impulses, our desires, our aversions, essentially our internal world and our choices about our character. Things not within our control are everything else: other people's bodies, reputations, possessions, and critically, their actions and opinions. When we worry about or get upset by the actions of others, we are trying to control the uncontrollable. It's like trying to steer a ship in a different ocean from yours. It's an exercise in futility that only drains your energy and compromises your inner peace. The Stoic practice is to constantly remind yourself, is this within my control? Their behavior? No. My reaction? Yes. Sometimes, protecting your inner citadel might require reducing interaction with certain individuals. This isn't about being avoidant or uncaring. It's a strategic retreat, a wise deployment of your energy to preserve your mental and emotional resources. Imagine your inner citadel has limited supplies. Constantly engaging with negativity from others is like leaving the gates wide open, allowing external forces to plunder your stores of patience, calm, and goodwill. A Stoic understands that self-preservation, in the sense of preserving one's rational faculty and virtue, is paramount. Seneca advises us on choosing our company wisely, recognizing that associating with those who compromise our principles or peace is detrimental. If a relationship or interaction consistently undermines your ability to remain grounded in your values and maintain your inner tranquility, it is not only acceptable but wise, from a Stoic perspective, to create distance or establish firm boundaries. Practically speaking, this means developing a kind of mental note-taking. When you encounter challenging behavior, mentally label it an external event. Someone is expressing anger, fear, ignorance. Note it, without judgment, without attachment. Practice seeing their behavior as simply another indifferent external, like the weather. The rain falls, you notice it's wet, but you don't get angry at the clouds. Similarly, someone acts poorly, you notice their action, but you don't allow their internal state to become yours. Your reaction remains squarely within your control. By focusing solely on your response, on maintaining your rationality and virtue in the face of their actions, you keep the drawbridge pulled up and the gates of your inner citadel secure. Okay, we've spent time today exploring how Stoicism equips us to handle difficult people. The core lesson is clear: while you can't control others' behavior, you have absolute power over your response, your judgments, and your inner state. This isn't just information to absorb. It's wisdom to apply. Stoicism is a practice lived daily. The real value comes from integrating these principles into your interactions, actively choosing your perception and reaction rather than being passively affected by external events. Consider now, who comes to mind when you think of a difficult person? How can the Stoic lens shift your perspective on their actions? More importantly, what specific step can you take next time to focus solely on controlling your reaction and protecting your inner peace? This conscious application is where true change begins. It requires effort, patience, and persistence, but the payoff is immense. Greater resilience, deep inner tranquility, and a stronger foundation for a virtuous life. You possess the power to remain undisturbed. Cultivate it through practice. If this discussion resonated with you, please show your support by liking the video. Your likes help this content reach more people seeking practical wisdom. If you're new here, subscribe and ring the notification bell to join our community and continue exploring Stoicism together. Share your own strategies for dealing with challenging people in the comments below. Your experience can benefit others. Thank you for joining me today and for dedicating your time to this pursuit. Keep practicing these principles, keep looking inward, and may your journey be marked by ever-increasing tranquility.